Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Noleen Abel-Ameh. We begin from the INEC, where senators elect for the February 25, 2023 National Assembly election have been presented with certificates of return by INEC. Mia Ogidi reports.
Pre-election anxiety gives way to post-election celebration. Returning senators congratulating themselves for a victorious contest, while first-timers admitted with warm handshake by their ranking colleagues. On geopolitical basis, the senators-elect filed past, receiving their certificates of return with great promises.
And to reassure you of better assembly, better legislation, new idea, new bills and law to protect the life and property of our own people, to check the executive arms of government for checks and balances.
The 9th Senate will try to change the time frame of the budgetary period, and that can only be achieved if there's a harmonious relationship between the executive and the legislative arm.
Infrastructure for the masses. We have some infrastructure for the elites and the areas where everybody sees, but where the bulk of Abuja people live, there's a lot to be done. So those are the things that I'm coming with.
For 2.5 hours that the program lasted, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu was just looking on, no speech from him. Wednesday, 8th of March 2023 is the turn for members-elect of the House of Representatives for their certificates of return. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the 2023 National Assembly elections produced different shades of surprises, from increased turnover to the expansion of party composition. But the All Progressives Congress was undeterred as it retains majority status. Ignatius Nko takes a look at the composition of the 10th Senate.
On the 11th of June 2023, the 9th Senate is expected to pack its bag and move into the annals of history. Already, the election of 25th February 2023 has produced the next occupants of the Red Chamber. Going into the 2023 elections, the All Progressives Congress, which has been in the majority since 2015, lost some of its members and closed its balance sheet at 62 members. But in the result, released so far by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the All Progressives Congress still holds the majority seat at 57, a reduction of their numbers in the 9th Senate by 5. PDP, the largest of the opposition parties, reduced from 39 to 29. Labour Party increased from only 1 member to 6, while the NNPP has 2, losing one of its seats. Social Democratic Party 2 members, ABGA and YPP, retained their 1-member status. Parliamentary resolutions are reached through voting. Therefore, numerical strength remains a factor. With the spread of membership in the Senate, it is expected that the election of presiding officers in the 10th Senate will witness serious horse trading and bargaining.
There are likely going to be also coalition of these new political parties to align with one of the major political parties in the legislature.
High turnover has continued in the National Assembly. For instance, out of the 109 senators in the 9th Assembly, only 30 will be returning, with 3 women against 6 in the 9th Senate. Out of the 5 principal officers on this majority seat, only 1 will be returning here in the next 3 months. Same with the minority seat, only the deputy minority leader will be returning.
So when we have new members, it means the system, the quality of output will be lower, and it means we don't get better. So that means representation will suffer.
Some former governors that will not be returning include Theodore Oji of Abia State, Umaru Tanko Almakura, Nasarawa, Rochas Okorocha Imo, Ibikunle Amosun Ogun, Gabriel Suswam Benue, and Sam Egu of Ebonyi State. The statistics of the 10th Senate will be devoid of the usual high number of immediate past governors, as most of them lost their bid. They include Samuel Otom of Benue, Ifeanyi Ugwanyo of Enugu, Ben Ayade, Cross River, Simon Lalong Plateau, Deros Ishaku of Taraba, Okezie Bazu Abia, and Abubakar Bagudu of Kebbi State, while Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, Sani Bello, Niger, and the immediate past governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, all of the APC, won their election into the Senate.
So many states had issues. States that were able to do meaningful reconciliation, the sitting governors were able to win their election.
As at now, elections into 11 seats are still inconclusive. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the senator representing Cross River North Senatorial District, Senator Agum Jarigbe Agum, has called on the Inspector General of Police to ensure the prosecution of those involved in electoral crimes during the last election. Senator Jarigbe was speaking when he briefed National Assembly correspondent on the various electoral offences in Cross River North Senatorial District during the just concluded National Assembly elections, where he said some persons were arrested. He urged the Inspector General of Police to prosecute them so as to act as deterrents.
Persons were paraded by the police command in Cross River State, allegedly for perpetrating election violence in the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections held on the 25th of February 2023. I call on the Inspector General of Police to immediately use his good office to put a stop to this show of shame going on in Cross River State.
Supporters of the All Progressives Congress have commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for conducting what they described as transparent presidential election that produced Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president-elect. In view of this, a solidarity rally in defense of the nation's democracy was held in Abuja. Salihu Gonara reports.
Save Our Democracy Group is on the streets of Abuja in support of the process and mandate given to Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress as the president-elect. The group, through their messages, preach peace, love for democracy, and support to a peaceful civil transition.
INEC, under the leadership of Professor Mahmoud, has given us a credible election in the history of this country. We are here to further consolidate and defend the mandate freely given to Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
While they come to INEC to say that elections are not credible, their members are in INEC receiving certificate of return, both from members of House of Reps and Senate. Today, they are receiving certificate of return from the same INEC that they are saying the election is not credible.
There's no ringing in this election. What of Lagos? If they are complaining, if we have any chance to ring, we could have ring Lagos. So that is his Jagaban place. He does not complain, he does not fight anybody.
Deputy Director Security Services at INEC headquarters, Ndidi Okafo, received the group on behalf of the Commission.
I want to thank you on behalf of the Commission and to say that we will convey your message to the appropriate quarters.
Members have been encouraged to be peaceful in their conduct as the nation prepares for governorship and state assembly elections. They, however, urged those who are aggrieved with the outcome of the presidential election to follow the rule of law and avoid conduct contrary to public peace. In Abuja, Saliu Gonara, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, under the leadership of its President General and Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, on behalf of the Muslim Ummah in Nigeria, congratulates Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his resounding victory during the presidential election. The Council is also very grateful to the Almighty Allah for the victory, which is a clear manifestation of his immense favors on the President-elect, while attesting to his decades of hard work, selflessness, sacrifice, unflinching commitment and dedication to the Nigerian project. The Council is confident that he will bring to bear his wealth of experience in assembling an all-inclusive team of experts in the administration of our country in a way that would foster unity, peace, as well as engender sustainable development. The council says, as a Muslim in a position of authority, leadership is trust, and a lot will be expected from him, as he will continue to be good, truthful, honest, fair, transparent, disciplined, prayerful, and righteous in the discharge of the duties Allah has entrusted to him. Ahead of the coming Saturday governorship and state houses of assembly elections, Governor Malabuni has engaged a number of youth groups as part of vote-seeking drive for his re-election bid. Yunusa Suleiman reports that the engagement, which aims at mainstreaming the youth into the campaign strategy, was held at the Government House, Damaturu.
It was a rewarding engagement between Governor Malabuni and youth who were former members of an opposition party in Damaturu local government, but recently defected to the governing APC with assurance to support the governor by giving him their votes come Saturday 11th March 2023. Led by Ahmed Mohamed Gombe, the highly spirited youth presented some demands for consideration, among which are youth inclusion in governance, poverty alleviation, and job creation if the governor is re-elected for the second term in office. Governor Malabuni, who saluted the youth for their courage, also assures to look into their list of demands. He appealed to them to come out and massively vote for APC in the forthcoming governorship and state assembly elections in the state. The governor also received one Abubakar Alhaji Garba, who trekked from Gashua to Damaturu to felicitate with the governor over Tinubu's victory at the just concluded presidential election, as well as reaffirms his solidarity to Buni's 4+4 campaign mantra. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Adiola is in our Lagos Network Center with the next set of report. Hi, Adiola.
Noleen. As Nigerians prepare to go to the polls to choose candidates that will pilot the affairs of various states across the country come March 11, 2023, residents of Lagos State say they are in high spirit to once again exercise their civic rights through ballots as patriotic citizens of a country. Abuladi Salami has the details.
Next round of elections, scheduled to hold on Saturday, 11th March 2023, will afford electorates the opportunity to cast ballots, this time to elect governors and state lawmakers. Residents of Lagos State say they are once again very much ready to exercise their civic responsibility. They however called on the electorate umpire as well as the security agencies to ensure they address all the issues which raised public concerns in the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections.
The beavers should be made to work perfectly well so that people can, get the fact of the votes from units.
The security should also improve. The police, they try their best, and the military and other paramilitary services, but they should improve.
The Resident Electoral Commissioner Lagos State, alongside the Commissioner of Police, assures of free, fair, and credible election, as well as commitment to security of lives and property of residents.
With my management, we look at the areas of challenges, and then we find a way out so that going forward will not be as tedious as what we went through in the last 2 days, particularly in the area of transportation.
We are assuring people that election security will be far better than the last one. Our response time will be far better than the last one, and people can come out to exercise their franchise.
16 candidates of different political parties are jostling for governorship position, while 394 candidates representing different registered political parties are contesting for 40 seats in the Lagos State House of Assembly. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Availability of fuel at petrol stations has no doubt calmed situations in Lagos State. However, few queues were observed at some filling stations despite the availability of the product. Larry Belay went round town to find out why.
Have heated up at the fuel filling stations in Lagos. Fuel are being dispersed to motorists without hitch. The long queue has reduced considerably, but should there be queues at all at these filling stations?
I'm about to go inside now. I think the fuel is available everywhere. So the only reason why you see little queue here is because of the variance in the price. So as I told you earlier, it's 185 naira here. And when you come in, maximum of 3 minutes you drive in and you buy your fuel.
Some who are just selling at the price, they have adjusted their pump to the last, so they are gaining more than what they're supposed to gain. That's why you see few queues there. And there are some filling stations, there is no queue.
Another reason the motorists pointed to as the cause of the few queues is the non-availability of cash in circulation.
There are many filling stations, they are not ready to save fuel because of the transaction from ATM to their PS. Some PS are not working because of the network problem. So due to another design, it's affecting the fuel. That's caused a lot of queue on different filling stations.
Some of these filling stations, they are selective. Some, their POS have issues. Some, they only want cash. So we as Nigerians always have to look for the ones that have the POS or have the e-transfer, whatever, to be able to get fuel.
Motorists affirmed that it's been a big sigh of relief for them in the city, as accessing petrol no longer requires waking up at odd hours, haggling with black marketers. In Lagos, Larry Belay, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Lagos, but remember to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. Nationwide will continue with Amina in our Kaduna Network Center after this time out to stay.
I need to
Welcome to Kaduna Network Center. The National Population Commission says it will continue to engage critical stakeholders for their input towards the successful conduct of 2023 National Housing and Population Census in the country. Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission Kaduna, Abdul-Malik Durungwa, stated this at a one-day capacity building workshop for journalists on effective coverage of the exercise. Dauda Mohammed has more.
The last census conducted in Nigeria was in 2006, and this year, the country is set to conduct a digital census in line with the United Nations recommendations of employing innovative digital tools and procedures to improve census taking process. The Commission is now improving the capacity of journalists with new skills and ideas for the effective coverage of the exercise. Federal Commissioner, National Population Kaduna State, Malik Durungwa, represented by the State Director, tasked journalists to use their professional expertise to educate Nigerians on the importance of the exercise.
The best thing to do is to educate them in order for them to have the proper facts at hand and to just inform them generally of all our updates and everything so that we'll work together with them towards the census building up.
Presentations by various resource persons centered on enumeration area demarcation, processes and methodology, as well as technological innovation in the 2023 Population and Housing Census, among others. Participants say they have acquired additional knowledge on the exercise.
This will equip many of us, particularly from the media angle or the media industry, with the desired knowledge on how to go about, covering the census itself, and also how to go about sensitizing the team in Nigerian populace and how to embrace the exercise.
The National Population Commission assures Nigerians of conducting an accurate and reliable census that will be used for national planning. In Kaduna, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
The Hadejia Jama'ar River Basin Development Authority has pledged to collaborate with state government and researchers to find the root cause of the increase in cases of kidney disease in areas of its operations. This was during a discussion with young medical professionals of Nigeria. Yohannes Hassan tells us more.
The Hadejia Jama'ar River Basin Development Authority has been providing water, one of the essentials in every household, irrigation, and livestock consumption for decades in Kano, Jigawa, and Bauchi states. Hadeja, which is among the areas under the scheme, has a few years back been recording increase in cases of kidney diseases. Concerned by this, the authority sponsored a research to find out the root cause of the prevalence of the deadly disease. Umar Bala and Musa Abdurrahman are among the 18 team of young medical professionals that participated in the research and now here to discuss on the outcome so far.
When you can talk about the nickel, the iron, the cadmium, the chromium, you understand the zinc and the manganese. So the most one that we were able to have an insight was the chromium, which has likely above the normal reference WHO value, which was almost about 4 times than the normal reference range, which was about what we got was about 0.22 microgram per liter, which with the normal range should be around 0.08 to 0.2 thereabout. So because of that, we are so determined to continue with this research.
We will try to upscale a kind of sensitization activity within the areas of our schemes, so that the dangers of using such kind of chemicals or any material containing such chemicals, even in small proportions, will be directly related to the people, so that they will be able to exercise some kind of restraint.
The areas under the scheme in Kano and Bauchi states will also be concluded in the research. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Noleen in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Amina. The National Working Committee, NWC, of Labour Party has dissolved the Rivers State Executive Council of the party with immediate effect for gross anti-party activities and corruption in the management of party funds. The NWC, arising from an emergency meeting in Abuja, believes that it is in the interest of the party and the obedient movement in Rivers State that those who were at the helm of affairs in the state should step aside until full investigation on what happened on that day is completed. A statement issued by the national chairman says the party has lost confidence in the ability of the compromised State Executive Council, led by Mr. Denye Pepo, to lead the campaign for the gubernatorial and State House of Assembly elections come March 11. The statement urges all obedience in Rivers State to disregard every comment made by the state chairman of the Labour Party, Denye Pepo, on the election of March 11 and reiterates the backing of the Labour Party on the candidacy of Comrade Beatrice Itubo of the Labour Party for election as the next governor of Rivers State. Political commentators are suggesting that voting be made compulsory in Nigeria as one of the solutions to the recurring voter apathy. This was while discussing the cost of voter turnout on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Ekemini Williams has details.
INEC says Nigeria has 93.5 million registered voters, out of which 87.2 million collected their PVCs. However, less than 30 million voters turned out for the February 25th presidential and National Assembly elections, which has become a subject of post-election narrative. Political commentators, in counting the cost of voter turnout, noted that it barely justified the over 300 billion naira budget INEC expended on the 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections. They attribute this to reasons including low voter education.
The public or voter education and enlightenment usually is left in the hands of the election management body largely, or the civil society organization and some of the NGOs. But the fact remains that the political parties, it is their duty to actually educate and enlighten the people, because the voting is for them. They are really not participating as it should be.
To redress the situation, they suggest voting be made compulsory for all eligible Nigerians, increased voter education by political parties, as well as enhanced training for INEC ad hoc staff prior to elections.
I will actually advocate for making a legislation that voting becomes compulsory. On the days of the election, you find people, able-bodied men, either playing football or doing their own business.
If you go there and you see name of people who have passed on, people who are not supposed to be there, it is that duty, that patriotic duty that we have to challenge those things. We don't challenge them.
They urged INEC to endeavor to ensure the electoral process is credible enough to avoid courts deciding the winner of elections. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
In other news, President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates the newly appointed Dr. Yabo Masha, Director and Head of Secretariat of the Intergovernmental Group of 24, G24. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Buhari notes that Dr. Masha has made history, being the first African to hold the position since the organization was founded in 1971. The President enjoins Dr. Masha to use her position to champion the cause of developing countries, especially in areas of economic diversification, debt resolution, tax policy, and financial sector development. The commitment of Nigerians to peace building and national unity is as important as the quest for responsive leadership in the country. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, advanced this position when a delegation of the Methodist Church of Nigeria visited his office. Mitare Ikpen reports that Permanent Secretary General Services Office represented the SGF.
In its 180 years of existence, the Methodist Church of Nigeria now has a prelate of northern extraction for the first time. His Eminence Oliver Ali Abba, prelate of the Methodist Church of Nigeria, is at the presidency with elders of the Christian denomination to sue for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians during and after the general elections.
If we have to be deliberate and have what they call attitudinal change, I think the country will live a better life so that we have something to pass on to generations yet unborn.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, here represented by the Permanent Secretary General Services, Nnamdi Mberi, thanked the Methodist Church for its intercession for the nation and its role in boosting education, moral reorientation, and the hospitality industry in the country.
I'm happy that as a religious body, you not only preach salvation, but you also want to empower people education-wise, and that is quite commendable.
The message here for Nigerians is to sustain active participation in the general election. In Abuja, Mitare Ikben, NTA News.
In line with the federal government's transition program for the facilitation and management of presidential transition, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has inaugurated a transition committee for a seamless handover of its various interventions for the next dispensation. Ruth Aguele has more.
As the present administration winds down, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is already aligning with its transition plan, with the inauguration of a transition committee to ensure the institutionalization of a legal framework to enable a timely and effective transition of all humanitarian interventions under its purview.
It has become necessary for the ministry to set up a ministerial committee. This committee is expected to ensure the collation and harmonization of handing over notes from all departments, agencies, and programs of the entire humanitarian sector.
The committee is expected to meet the time frame stipulated for a continuous coordination and response in the humanitarian sector. On the sideline, as part of ongoing efforts to reform the civil service, the ministry is keying into the civil service strategy and implementation plan with a sensitization workshop organized to improve capacity of its staff.
The Permanent Secretary has graciously approved that the department organize this training on culture change, which is to reorientate, redefine, and retool all staff for better service delivery in the civil service.
This one-day sensitization workshop will focus on managing change and retooling of staff for better service delivery.
The overall objective is to build leadership competencies and change the narrative towards reforming the civil service. In Abuja, Ruth Aguila, NTA News.
The National Population Commission (NPC) has commenced training on the critical processes of the 2023 Population and Housing Census for controllers in charge of the Commission's local government area offices nationwide. The training, which is set to start Tuesday 7th March 2023 and end on 9th March 2023, will be conducted in 2 states per geopolitical zone. Director of NPC Public Affairs, Isiaka Yahaya, in a statement explained that NPC is deeply committed to give the nation reliable and acceptable census data for evidence-based development planning. The statement also added that purpose of the training is to equip controllers with the knowledge and skills necessary to perform their duties effectively and efficiently during the census exercise. 774 controllers are expected to be trained on the focus area of the 2023 census processes by the 60 resource persons drawn from various departments of the Commission. The National Population Commission also called on Nigerians to support the Commission and present themselves to be counted during the 2023 census exercise. As preparations for the 2023 national census reach an advanced stage, the federal government is relying on key stakeholders for technical and financial support to enable coverage of key activities which have not been implemented. That is the crux of a high-level engagement organized by the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning in collaboration with the National Population Commission and United Nations Population Fund ahead of the Population and Housing Census. Neka Oko reports.
Across this hall are development partners, corporate bodies and other key stakeholders. Their host believes they are critical to the actualization of the 2023 Population and Housing Census. For now, the federal government has committed 291.5 billion naira to the conduct of the exercise and requires an additional 327.2 billion naira, a gap which they believe stakeholders can fill.
It is important to note that 60% of the funding and other requirements of the previous census, the 2006 census, could not have been achieved without the invaluable support of the development partners.
Censuses all over the world, the average is between $4 to $6. Nigeria's $6 per person, you will agree with me, is very, very reasonable.
We've reached a point that in a few weeks, we'll be conducting census for Nigeria.
When you contribute to the census in Nigeria, you also contribute to the global promise and achieving and delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals.
The ministry says a basket fund managed by the United Nations Population Commission, UNFPA, will be established for the redemption of the pledges. In Abuja, Neka Oko, NTA News.
If you just joined us, this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We are pausing here for commercial break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide. Chinenye Ngoye is on our Enugu Network Center with more reports. Good evening, Chinenye.
Good evening, Noleen. Welcome to Enugu. Voters in the southeast have appealed to the Independent National Electoral Commission and other key players to remedy the challenges that almost cast aspersion on the electoral umpire and ultimately the transparency and credibility of the February 25 polls. Chegonu Aro reports.
Following late arrival of INEC materials and ad hoc staff to polling centers, malfunctioning of biomodel voter accreditation system BVAS, the state INEC in Enugu says it has addressed those issues as setbacks and are ready to move forward.
A memorandum of understanding has been signed by INEC with the National Union of Road Transport Workers, National Union of Road Transport Owners, and the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria at the national level on the modalities to deploy a vehicle for election duty.
We are already actually prepared to move ahead, forge ahead, to continue. There's no going back.
Voters, on the other hand, are of the opinion that the aforementioned setbacks will not deter them from exercising their civic responsibilities on March 11th.
I will be there before the time, sir. There will be no challenge, and if there is challenge, God will destroy that challenge.
I urge politicians to spare the journalists and let the journalists do their work.
Everything is on ground. Me and my men in Enugu State Command, we are fully ready.
We are asking everybody to ensure that we conduct ourselves in the most acceptable manner. Shun all form of thuggery. You don't empower people, young men and women, and get them to cause violence.
It is believed that the same spirit to push on will be replicated to ensure that the mandate of the people comes alive. In Enugu, Chegonu Aro, NTA News.
Accessing cash in Abia State has remained a challenge in spite of the large volume of commercial activities in the town 4 days after the Supreme Court's ruling on the old Naira notes. Grace Ndanda reports that despite literally sleeping in banks, residents decry not getting their desired amount of money in old or new notes.
Pronouncements by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, residents of Aba are full of expectations that more money will be pushed into the banks. Consequently, they will find it easy to withdraw money. The reality on ground is that nothing has changed.
I was very, very happy and impressed when I heard the announcement, but in the same hand disappointed because I have not seen the effect of it. I have not had access to both the old one and the new one. Even as I'm talking to you, I don't have money to pay for keke.
I was somehow excited because I have much of those notes. But I was like, looking at it that is a paper to be in my cupboard. But so some of like now my bank now, they refuse to accept it.
Members of the business community see it as risky collecting old notes until they hear from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
To many Nigerians, it is still an announcement on paper. There is no actions backing it up. For me as a business person, as a professional in my field, my office is yet to see that as a legal tender.
So most customers came asked us if we've started collecting old notes. So we told them that because of the previous experience that we are waiting for announcement by CBN.
This trader Uche Livinus has a different opinion as he still collects the old Naira notes.
The Supreme Court says we should be collecting it, and I'm telling my customers to bring it, that I'm collecting it.
These bank customers who have been standing in the bank since early hours of the morning are hopeful that the Supreme Court's ruling will be implemented to ease the stress of accessing cash. In Aba, Grace Nana, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Enugu. Noleen, it's back to you in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Very well, Chinenye. Nigeria will continue to demonstrate its commitment to inculcate values that would engender national unity and a sustainable, peaceful future for all. This is coming from Ministry of Education at a media briefing on the activities lined up to observe the 2023 Commonwealth Day. This
and in view of the conflict situation in some of our countries, that is the Commonwealth countries, and indeed globally, this year's commemoration is calling on all young people to raise a flag of peace. You all agree with me that this call cannot be more important at any more than now in our country, as our young people begin to progressively shun violence and embrace dialogue as a means of redress.
This is coming from Minister of Education at a media briefing on the activities lined up to observe the 2023 Commonwealth Day. This commitment, the ministry believes, is in tandem with the theme for this year's commemoration, which is forging a sustainable and peaceful common future. While the ministry has put in place programs on values for peace, prosperity and democracy to be entrenched at federal schools, ask counterparts in the states to do the same so that the commitment can trickle down to the rural areas. The National Orientation Agency, NOA, has urged media organizations to continue to propagate positive messages that will douse tension and promote love and unity in the country. Kenneth Nanim reports that the agency and its partners at breakfast meeting in Abuja engaged media executives on the need for more advocacy on peace through responsible journalism.
The elections at the national level have come and gone, but the aftermath of the process is generating concerns from both the winners and the losers. The National Orientation Agency and partners are urging the media to adequately scrutinize the content of their messages, especially as the country prepares for governorship and state assembly elections in few days to come. The essence is to avoid post-election violence in the country.
We must all be sensitive and circumspect in the things we say, in the things we do, in the things we write, and on the things we show on our screens.
So that as a country, what we are focused on is how we support national integration and national cohesion in all that we do.
The aggrieved parties were also advised to follow the constitutional process in their matter and refrain from acts capable of heating up the polity. The forum also agreed that relevant institutions of government such as the INEC and security agencies must be proactive in their responsibilities to earn public trust, while the agency intensifies advocacy on peaceful coexistence amongst key players. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Next on our lineup on Nationwide is Jenny Bassi from our Port Harcourt Network Center. Hi, Jenny.
Good evening and welcome. The last 3 kilometers of Chokocho-Igbodo Road into Imo State is to be completed by the Rivers State government. Governor Nyesom Wike has directed the Commissioner of Works to work out modalities with the contracting firm towards achieving the goal. The governor gave the directive at the inauguration of Chokocho-Igbodo Road in Eche local government area. Ogedi Nyekure reports.
Inauguration of Chokocho-Igbodo Road is acknowledged as another act of fulfilling social contracts with the people, especially as the road would aid transportation of farm produce to the city. Chokocho-Igbodo Road is a federal road that stretches from Eche and terminates in Ungo Opala local government area of Imo State. Governor Nyesom Wike outlined the numerous projects he has executed in the area, stressing that he has fulfilled his side of the bargain. He urged the people to come out en masse on Saturday to vote for all PDP candidates in the governorship and House of Assembly election.
We promise to bring the campus of River State University
back to her daughter. Representative of the contracting firm said the firm is glad to be a part of the success story of the great transformation going on in the state.
It is worthy to note that all our roads that have been handed over are still standing till date without any failure, and this one will not be any exception.
Chokocho Ibodo Road is 27.12 kilometers long with a width of 11.3 meter and has drains. In Eche, Ogedinyekwe, NTA News.
The prevalence of fake and substandard products is a menace to over 200 million people in Nigeria. In this report, Abel-Ameh looks at the effect of substandard products in the nation's economy.
Loss of fake and substandard products into the Nigerian markets has remained unabated for Nigeria's economy, particularly its local industry. These fake products, which cut across all classes and categories of items, range from drugs, food, drinks, building materials, electronic and household appliances, among others, find their way into the Nigerian markets with its debilitating effects on unsuspecting consumers.
It's indeed very saddening, considering how tough the economy is on the pocket right now. So when one works so hard to earn a living, you don't want to waste those funds on fake products.
I think government should be more serious about raiding those who are having such products and really dealing with it once and for all.
Sadly, an estimated 15 billion naira is said to be lost annually to fake and substandard products. This, experts say, has further led to loss of tax revenue, low income to local manufacturers, and unemployment.
Over time, if you find out that a particular product or use is not meeting your demand or not meeting your desire, then you think of some other thing to do. Either you resort to buying foreign goods, which will continue to erode our naira, erode the value of our naira.
Mr. Samuel Ayuba is the coordinator for Rivers State Standards Organization of Nigeria.
Substandard product sells faster because of economic reasons. And it is very clear for you to know the product is substandard. One, product that does not have country of origin. Product that does not have brand name on it. Not to talk of the one that has not even been certified by Standards Organization of Nigeria or other regulatory agencies in the country.
The consensus is that relevant authorities should step up efforts to stem the tide of fake and substandard products in the country for businesses to thrive. In Port Harcourt, Abel-Ameh, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Noleen is back to you in Abuja.
Very well, Jenny. Up next is a sports update with Olumide Egunsola. And that concludes Nationwide today. Thank you for watching. Remember to stay with the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. I am Noleen Abel-Ameh. Good evening.